One of the deepest notes within the covenant witness of Deuteronomy is the promise that death and the grave will not have the final word. Paul writes that death reigned from Adam to Moses, describing the dominion of death and the grave over fallen humanity from the time of Adam onward. Adam returned to the dust, and the generations that followed lived beneath that same sentence. Humanity remained under the shadow of death, unable by its own power to overcome the grave. Yet with Moses, God did not leave death and the grave standing without challenge. In the covenant, he openly set before his people life and death, blessing and cursing, and called them to choose life. That command was not empty. If God set life before his people, then life was truly being held out in promise, even if its full realization still awaited the one whom Moses foretold. This is what makes the promise of the coming prophet so significant. Moses not only placed life and death before Israel, he also pointed forward to the prophet whom God would raise up and whom the people must hear. From that moment, death in the grave no longer stood in the covenant witness as the unquestioned end of man. God had declared that life was his promise, and that promise would reach its fulfillment through the prophet to come. If this video is helpful, like, comment, or subscribe and help get this message out there. The reign of death in the grave would continue in history until Christ destroyed death itself, but through Moses, God had already testified that death would not have the final word. When Jesus came preaching everlasting life, he was not introducing a foreign theme. He was bringing to fulfillment what the covenant had already set forth in promise, that those who hear the word of God and choose life will not be left under the dominion of death in the grave forever.